we're talking about how I got here. We're talking about how my current job, how I ended up there. I ended up there because I was working as a bartender. Definitely not one of the top 5 people I would have expected a call from in that moment.
And you never expected?
No.
Wow.
He called me and asked me. He was the HR manager.
Okay.
He was the talent acquisition guy.
Okay.
Talent,
Yeah.
Did that job? That job didn't
And
require.
he found the talent.
Yeah, well, that's debatable. But
I agree with that.
no, I mean I appreciate it. But yeah,
if you're looking this, he's an amazing, talented guy.
Don't listen to this guy. Well, you meet so many interesting people.
So you would like to say that meeting people is interesting for you?
100%. That's the best thing in the world is to meet new people.
That's not a very common statement coming out of from Gen Z.
Am I Gen Z? I always said that the most fun job in the world is to be a bartender. As a 6-year-old, I was never in a club, partying, drinking myself. Austria in general is a great country. I mean, it's safe, it's nice. The welfare system is great. So when we talk about the country itself, it's really, really good. It is a German-speaking country like Switzerland and Germany, and this is no offense to German people, but I feel like Austrians are more, family-minded. I miss my family a lot.
Yeah.
I miss my friends that I have there, of course. But if we talk about the country, there are some things that I miss, like food-wise, for example. The Finnish cuisine is not known for being. I mean, you would know.
Now, coming from Austria to Finland, why you are in Finland? Is there a story, or I would say hashtag, a Bollywood story behind this?
Yeah. I mean, you and your Bollywood story. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Swades Podcast. In our podcast, we talk about real stories, and those stories are relevant. In our today's podcast, we're going to talk about Samuel Round, an interesting and charming personality coming from Austria, landing in Finland, finding his own spot in Finland, studying and then finding a job, doing different kind of activities, the rise and fall that he saw during his student life and also from the corporate perspective. Samuel, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Sami, before we go to the deep and understand your story, which has been very interesting, I would like to ask you, if someone meets you today for the first time, how would you introduce yourself? I'm not talking about your resume, about you, your personality.
Yeah. To be honest, the first thing I usually say is that I'm quite small, but that's a given when you see me, unless I'm sitting down like now. But generally, I would say I'm pretty small. But altogether, I would say I'm a very positive person. I like to joke around. I like to laugh a lot. I think that the most important thing I try to do is to make everybody else laugh, even if times are a bit rough. So yeah, I would say I'm a very bubbly person and up for anything. I will never say no. And you usually find me out in the town somewhere doing things because I get bored quite easily at home. So yeah.
Definitely, and I would always look forward for that, and I have been looking forward for that.
Yes.
Sami, you're from Austria, and Austria is an amazing country. Could you talk or tell us something about the lovely place? How is the culture, and do you remember some kind of memories from there?
Yeah. I mean, of course, I remember a lot of things from Austria because I go over there a lot, and I only came to Finland some years ago, but Austria in general is a great country. I mean, it's safe, it's nice. The welfare system is great. So when we talk about the country itself, it's really, really good. Me personally, I found Austria a very great place to grow up in. I think most people, or many people, think of Austria as one of the top countries when it comes to many things. And I think for kids especially, it's nice because you have a lot of opportunities to explore sports and have activities outside of school. You can go skiing in the winter. You can go hiking in the summer. I never liked hiking, but Austria has a lot of mountains. No sea though, which is a shame, but we do have lakes. But generally, Austria is a beautiful country, and the people there, the culture is very, very warm, I would say. It is a German-speaking country like Switzerland and Germany, and this is no offense to German people, but I feel like Austrians are more, family-minded and very, very close and very, you can always rely on them. It feels like you're a small country, but still people in Vienna, for example, you have a big city, right? But people outside of Vienna, generally, the countryside people, they're very, very close, and they always greet you, and they always wish you well, and they're always there to help you. You know, you can go to your neighbor and say, "Hey, I need something," and then they're like, "Sure, I got you." You know, if you need milk, if you need butter or something, you can always do that. I said Vienna, maybe not so much, because Vienna is known for being a little more
urban.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
In Austria, Vienna is famous for being, the capital. It's like here as well in Helsinki. People say people are a bit more grumpy and not so helpful. But generally, I think Austrian people, and I mean even people in Vienna, amazing people, very lovely, very very sometimes very loud and very personal as well.
Yeah.
But compared to here,
what you missed most out of if you think about your country,
I mean, a great answer would be my family.
Okay.
But I mean, I
would you like to talk about
first.
your family? I mean,
sure. I mean, I miss my family a lot. I miss my friends that I have there, of course. But if we talk about the country, there are some things that I miss, like food-wise, for example. The Finnish cuisine is not known for being. I mean, you would know.
That's a bit common.
But no, I mean, the cities the city that I lived in, the nightlife sometimes, it can get a little bland here at times because it's a bit smaller, But generally, I think the biggest thing that I miss, of course, family and friends. But then, culture-wise, the closeness of people and kind of the warm-heartedness. I think that Finnish people are very kind and very respectful, but you have to get to know them first. If you don't know them, they could come off as a little bit cold, maybe.
Yeah, that's something we are going to go definitely. Yeah. But I remember that you have been talking a lot about your father's business bar that has been fascinating you, and you have been serving as also a bartender and doing a lot of different kind of hospitality jobs. We're going to come one by one, and we are going to understand why those are important and how those jobs have played interesting, role into your life. Yeah. So could you take us to that a part of life as well?
Yeah. So. My dad is or was a bartender, and then he at some point in the I think late 90s decided to settle down in Austria and start a business, or maybe early 2000s, I think. So he always had some bars or clubs, and since I was a kid, I kind of grew up in and around them, and it was always quite interesting to see how these things work behind the scenes. I, of course, as a 6-year-old, I was never in a club, partying and drinking myself.
Yeah, that's obvious.
But I saw what was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So it was quite interesting to see. And then obviously growing up and starting to go to bars and so on, I kind of got an idea of how things work. And I mean, it's not such a complex business, but it's still quite interesting to see how things work. He would take me to the office and he's doing the finances or something, and I'll see that and it would be like, interesting,
Yeah.
But eventually, while I was or when I was old enough, I was allowed to work for him. That was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. I always said that the most fun job in the world is to be a bartender.
Okay, and tell us why.
Because you meet so many people. You meet so many interesting people.
So you would like to say that meeting people is interesting for you?
100%. That's the best thing in the world, is to meet new people.
That's not a very common statement coming out of from Gen Z.
Am I Gen Z?
Okay.
Well, I'm in my late 20s. I'm in my very late 20s.
Okay.
I'm in my last year of the 20s. No, I'm not Gen Z, but But I mean, generally, I think that goes for everyone. If you're 80 or 12, meeting new people is amazing, because every person you meet opens a new door.
Okay.
And we're talking about how I got here. We're talking about how my current job, how I ended up there. I ended up there because I was working as a bartender.
Okay, so you want to say that the job that you're doing currently, which we are going to talk about, it's an amazing job that you're doing, because we would like to understand the digital marketing and different perspective which is attached to your job. But at the same time, we slow by slow we understand like how did you. So it's very interesting that you got a job from that place only. So how did it happen?
So I was working one time, and it was a very quiet evening, and then one guy walks in the bar with his girlfriend, at the time, and he asks me to play a song for her because it's her. The song was named like the song's name was the same as her name, and I was like, sure, I can play you a song. And then I felt like he was trying to do something nice for his girlfriend, so I brought over 2 small shots of I don't know what it was, for free on the house because I was like, he's doing something nice for his girlfriend, and I always like to think that every single day I want to do something nice or a nice gesture or something.
Okay,
so I brought over those shots, and then he was like, thank you very much, and and so on. And then I talked with them a little bit, and turns out that he lived just around the corner from the bar. So then the next day he came in for a coffee, and then week after he came in for a drink, and sometimes he would just come in alone even just to talk to me. So we became friends, and then COVID came, and through that period we hung out a lot. And fast forward a couple of years, I came here. I was on this very campus, and I get a call from him, and he says, do you want a job? And I said, what kind of job? And he said,
so you were in contact, like,
yeah, more or less, like,
okay.
not much, but it was just a random call. It was definitely not one of the top 5 people I would have expected a call from in that moment.
And you never expected?
No.
Wow.
He called me and asked me. He was the HR manager.
Okay.
He was the talent acquisition guy.
Okay.
Talent,
Yeah.
Did that job. That job didn't
and
require.
He found the talent.
Yeah, well, that's debatable. But
I agree with that.
I appreciate it. But
if you're looking this, he's an amazing, talented guy.
Don't listen to this guy. But So he calls me. He said, "Do you want a job?" I said, "What kind of job?" He said, "Data sourcing." I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "I don't know," and I was like, "Sure." So that was it. Then I.
I'm just trying to understand if some HR or talent acquisition guy called you and tell you that, okay, do you want this job? And you said like, what is this job? And you still get it.
Yeah. No, because
that's we call talent.
I guess he was convinced that I could do the job.
Okay. Yeah.
So he knew that I was studying, and I think we might have talked about, if there's some opening that I can do remotely because the company is based in Austria, then sure, maybe I'll take up the job. But I don't know. Generally, it was more. I didn't know what the job was at all. He couldn't really tell me what exactly my tasks were because it was, so far from what he knows. But it was still.
Yeah.
I
but the idea about having a job where you interact with people excites you and also open the door for networking, and
exactly,
that's excites you.
100%, yes. The thing is, I'm a very extroverted person. I know that there's going to be 1 or 2 introverts that go like, hell no, I'm going to sit behind a screen. I don't want to see anybody. And I totally understand that because that's valid.
It's okay.
It's up to, it's up to everybody else. Like, to each to their own. Everybody has a different kind of idea how their perfect job looks like. Mine is one where I can communicate because I think the thing is, if you live your life, just by yourself, then I think it gets kind of boring. You're not doing much. You're just, everything is the same. If that's what you need, and if that's what you want, then that's good. But I need some change every now and then. I need something exciting, something that happens. It's like, if you watch a movie, things happen, right? One person dies, a baby is born, something happens. If you're not that kind of person, then you can just stare at a picture and it's always the same,
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. And I can give you countless examples of, interesting people I've met, whether they're lawyers or somebody else saying that they could have a job for me maybe or something like that, So many people. And I had some legal issues with one of my with my landlady at the time, and within an hour or something I had 2 or 3 lawyers who were ready to help me.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen if I don't have that kind of job,
connections with that.
So,
And you did not stop there. And when I was understanding your story, you also went to Greece also, and for the exchange and studying, and also did the same kind of a job there, and probably found out very interesting connections and networking there as well.
I would say so. Yeah. Greece. Greece was while I was already studying, so that was a few years after. It was kind of a little fun idea that I had because my parents met in Greece in the 90s in Rhodes, and they were employed by a certain person, and that person went back to Rhodes many years later. He's from the UK. Many years later, he came back to Rose to reopen a bar, and my dad sent me a kind of like a Facebook post or something where he was looking for people, and I was like, sure, stuff it. Why not try this out? Why not go do the same thing that my parents did and work for the same person?
That's interesting.
Yeah. And then I took a friend along, Luca.
Yeah.
And we
Luca, you're on board.
Yeah, it was a great time. I mean, it was very hectic in the beginning because we had some issues with the accommodation, and then we couldn't work straight away, and then eventually everything kind of worked out. But it was a crazy experience because every day was a new adventure. It was
talking to you brings me life in front of me. You are talking people. You're talking, communication, understanding, memories. Dropping by the moments. You're recreating the moments as well. Now, this is very interesting, the way you're moving in your life, when I'm trying to understand it, how lively you are. But at the same time, life is moving very interestingly in a different direction. What do you think about University of Social Media? How many people or, generations are so much connected to social media in a way that the real life is missing out. What do you think about that? And I specifically termed out University of Social Media because everyone is kind of trying to be a master of everything. What do you think about that?
Generally, I think that, so this is such a interesting topic because social media, like you will ask one person and they're like, no, I deleted all of my social media because I want to focus on the real life and stuff like that. I think that social media generally is a good thing. And I remember, because I'm so old, like in the beginning of my school time at some point when Facebook was, kind of a big thing, we had to write something about what do you think about Facebook? And everybody said it's a great thing because half of my family lives in the UK. So it was my way of communicating with them. Because at the time it wasn't, I couldn't call them because it was really expensive to call abroad. So I was, on Facebook texting my cousins and stuff like that. And it was really cool. I thought Facebook was amazing, And then, people went on to do Instagram and people started posting pictures. Also really cool, I can show people what I'm up to. And then Snapchat, all these different kind of platforms that I generally think are, the purpose of them is good, right? Yeah. Whether you use them or overuse them, that's up to you.
That's up to you.
So I think that it's, I don't think that you should blame social media. I think that you should blame a lack of self-control or, control over how you use your screen time.
Then bring life.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I use social media kind of a lot. I mean, it's part of my job.
Yeah.
But also, I'll catch myself scrolling on TikTok, on Instagram for, an unhealthy amount of time every now and then. But I also would always prefer to go out with my friends.
Yeah.
So I don't fall into this hole that much. I will scroll there, but I'm proud to say that I'm scrolling on TikTok because it's entertainment, Like it's entertainment and it's a way to keep in touch with people.
Correct.
I think that this, crying over, I don't know, I think it's just people complaining all the time like, oh, but it's going to be there forever. Whatever you post, don't post anything. Like it's so easy to find solutions to these problems. Yeah. When people say, I don't like something, then don't do it. Yeah. If somebody else does it, mind your own business,
Yeah, that's very interesting perspective, by the way, Samuel. Now, coming from Austria to Finland, why you are in Finland? Is there a story, or I would say hashtag, a Bollywood story behind this?
Yeah. I mean, you and your Bollywood story. Yeah, there is a story to it. Yeah. So in 2016, I met someone, and we got together, and initially we did a girlfriend. We did
Bollywood story.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's not that crazy, but it was definitely.
You mean like Bollywood stories are crazy?
Yeah, Bollywood stories are crazy. I mean,
okay.
I've seen some. I've also seen some terrible editing on
and
some Bollywood movies. By the way,
your story is not crazy.
No, it's not that crazy. I mean, it's definitely not as unique as you may think, because I think that it happens to other people as well. But no, it was definitely like, it was a very, like, I was younger, and like almost 10 years ago, or like 9.5 years ago, we met, and then we kind of did like long distance for a bit. I was still in school, so was she, and then we did long distance for a bit. Then in 2017, I decided to move to Finland, because I really, not just for her, but also for myself, because I really needed a change, because I was feeling extremely unhappy in Austria. And I mean, of course, that was one of the reasons, because I really wanted to be here. And then I was here for a bit, but not living in a very big city, a very small place. So it was really difficult to find a job. So eventually I had to go back to Austria, and then I managed one of my dad's bars for a bit. And then 1.5 years, actually, pretty much on and off, because then COVID came. And at one point during the second lockdown in Austria, so in Austria we had, just so you know, we had a 2-month like harsh lockdown where we weren't even allowed to leave the house pretty much. And then we reopened for 4 months.
Okay.
Maybe 4 months, yeah. Something like that. And then after that, we had another lockdown that was a bit longer. And during the second one, I remember getting a bottle of wine or two with my friend, my roommate at the time. And we drank it. And then it was like very late at night. And I decided that I need to make a change, because I can't be staying at home all the time and just doing this, you know. Although it was pretty fun, but it wasn't a life, you know. So I looked online. I used the internet to search up my dream studies, and I always wanted to do sports marketing. So I was like, sports marketing studies Finland, because my girlfriend at the time was living in Finland. So I found a sports marketing study master's degree in JYU, so the University of Jyväskylä. But I needed a bachelor's degree for that.
Yeah.
So I was like, what kind of bachelor's degree can I do to do this then? So I found one at Jamk, this place. And yeah, so 2021, I think it was August, I came back here, and then September started my studies. And been here ever since. Haven't looked back.
Perfect. How do you see Finland? Because you have lived here for so many years now. I met you here, and I'm so happy that I met you.
Oh, likewise.
Sami, and I would say like many other fellows. But at the same time, everyone has their own way of adapting to the culture. How did you adapt to Finnish culture, and what was the challenging situation, or what was the best part of Finland that you can describe it?
I mean, I could talk for hours about how much I love Finland, because I think Finland is an amazing country. One very wise man, one of the professors at Jamk, actually, I don't know if he's still here, Paul Abbey, he was the professor for Introduction to Finnish Culture. He said that out of all the countries that he's seen and lived in, he said that Finland is the first country where he feels like the government is actually there to help you. And I think that really stuck with me, because it really feels like doing things here is a lot easier than in Austria. If I want to get a doctor's appointment, I go online, use my Finnish banking credentials, book a slot, and I will get it. And there won't be any delays. It will take, I don't know, no time at all. I'm sure that there is so much room to complain. But usually the happiest people complain, because everything kind of works.
True.
But if something for once doesn't work, they have a reason to complain, and they will really complain about it. That's why Finnish people probably like to complain as well. But let me tell you, as somebody from Austria, where things actually work pretty well as well, it's really cool. It's really good here. Adapting to the culture wasn't that difficult, for me at least, because I don't know. I don't really know if there's that big of a difference. I mean, of course, what I mentioned in the beginning, the difference in, you know, the warmth of the people is definitely there. But, you know, I met some amazing people here. Like within the first week or so of coming to Finland, I met people that, for example, Luca, we went to Greece together. Then other people, you know, that I'm still in touch with now. One friend that we watch football together all the time, you know, then that little group of friends, the Uptown Boys, we all live in the same area of the city in Uptown, you know, or we lived there. So we still, you know, we're still in touch. And yeah, from the beginning, I always had really close friends. So they made it easier for me as a foreigner, at least. And of course, my girlfriend at the time made it very easy for me to do anything, because if I needed something, you know, like paperwork or something, I was always like, hey, can you help me? And she was like, yeah, sure. Yeah. But she was also a student, so she already did all of that. So she she fixed everything up for me. So
Yeah. That's so interesting because it seems like, you being a very interesting or, exciting personality, talk to people, but then at the same time, it's always take one initiatives to network, to connect. And then, of course, the other peoples are very happy to connect with you, for example. And as you mentioned that, you have a lot of friends here and you coped up very well in this society. Was there any challenge that you would like to talk about?
yes, 100%. I mean, the thing is, and this sounds a bit drastic maybe, but sometimes you just need to force people to talk to you, like not pin them down and I don't know, tie them down and tell them to talk to you, but just talk. I'm I speak very few languages, but one of my main languages is Japanese, so I yap a lot. The term Japanese. First time.
Okay.
No, it's just like when you yap a lot.
Okay.
I speak. Yeah, I just talk to people and I won't stop, and people will just sit there and listen to me at least, or they'll pretend to listen to me. I don't care. I'm still, I just need to get rid of it, and maybe they'll pick something up, and maybe I'll say something that's interesting.
And
to
you
them.
question a lot.
Yeah. I do.
Which is good.
Yeah. The thing is, you can't always be satisfied with an answer.
Yeah.
You always have to dive deeper. You have to know where this is coming from. But if somebody is sitting there who doesn't want to talk to anybody at all, who generally doesn't speak to people a lot, and you just, talk and talk and talk, at some point, maybe you will find like that soft spot where he goes like, oh, actually, I agree or disagree. And then you have a conversation, right?
True.
So you always need one person to start a conversation. I can guarantee you that if I was an introverted person, then half the friends that I have here now, I wouldn't be friends with probably, because they don't really initiate a conversation as much. Like of course with me now because we're friends. Yeah. But Finnish people keep to themselves a lot. Yeah. So they will find it more difficult to start a conversation. Some at least, Yeah. I'm not saying that every Finnish person is like that, because that's just not true. Yeah. But if it always just needs one person, and in every kind of relationship, whether that's a friend, a friendship or a romantic relationship or something, there's always one person who starts something. It's not like two people at the same time say, "I want to go on a date," and then they go on a date. That's not what happens. Yeah. So it's the same with any kind of friendship as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So it's kind of like that. But then when you initiate, and you always find, the people, like-minded people who are interested in that. But one thing, Sammy, you talked about amazing thing about the system in Finland, and it's very interesting to know the digital side of the system, which is very convenient, transparent, and accessible. This is important. And for the common human being or the commoner, let's say these systems are very much helpful compared to different part of the world where the bureaucracy comes in between and the people have to suffer a lot. You start with any kind of segment of the society in Finland, have achieved excellence from education to healthcare to different kind of city services or school or different kind of perspectives. If you try to move around, you will find the services accessible. But if you compare to different part of the world, I mean, the basic things are missing out. I don't know why things are not improving, despite we have the examples, highest level of example presented. So I completely agree with you how difficult it is for people, for different part of the world to come and understand this. And then, of course, wherever you go, you kind of compare systems, talk about systems, and then you come across with this different kind of situation where things are not working and why things are working here, for example. So that's bring me to one of the way to understand that why systems are so nice in Finland is because of one thing, that is commitment from the people. How committed they are with their work, for example, any kind of work. The work means commitment here, which is very good.
I agree.
You have been spending your time here, education. So you were in applied sciences, and then you moved for your master's education, which you are doing in entrepreneurship. Tell me something about your journey with education. How do you like the system here?
So I started studying international business at YAMK. so the University of Applied Sciences. Took me a little longer than I initially planned, but I enjoyed it a lot. It was very applied, which I think is amazing. We got the chance to work with a lot of people from all around the world. We had the X-Culture project, for example, where I got to meet people from India and from the US, and we worked for other companies or did projects for them. We managed to volunteer or work at the Lahti ski games, for example, as well. We traveled a lot, had excursions and other trips, and yeah, I loved it. I mean, it wasn't as demanding as I initially thought. Sure, I would say your course was most demanding.
Okay. Okay. I was sort of like, okay, how it was demanding, by the way.
No, I mean, there was, because I only had 5s and 4s, which are the best grades, right?
Yeah.
But then I had to fight for a 3 one time while I was in Greece because my learning diary wasn't up to par or something like that.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
otherwise things are fine. Okay. Noted down.
No, it was still good. The thing is, because I was so used to all the projects, the group work was like, everybody contributes to it and everybody does a little part, but they do their part well. The learning diary was an individual thing, and I just, I did it, and it wasn't. But I improved in it. I ended up getting a 3, so it was okay.
Yeah, it is. It's complete fine. I think you deserve the more. I mean, come on. But hey, now you're at the university.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between the systems, like in the pedagogy, for
so,
example?
In general, the difference is it's not so applied. So it's a very research based university, and we get a lot of articles that we read and analyze and discuss.
Yeah,
we do have some group work as well, but not as much. The studies that I'm doing are called international business and entrepreneurship. So it's very similar. In my bachelor's, I focused on marketing and sport business, but in the master's degree now, it's focused on entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
But it's generally just a lot more research based.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to.
It's very interesting because it's a path towards if you want to go beyond or ahead in academic ladder. So the research is very intensive in that in that side. So that's very completely understandable. Sami, when the students are trying to understand their career path, sometimes it happens that you feel lost. Also, you try to explore the future as well because you're worrying about your future job as well. At the same time that you have made the right decision or not. And how I see your life is that way, that you are doing different kind of job and something which is very relevant to your field as well, marketing, that we are going to talk about. But what would you tell a student who feel lost at some stage? What they should do and what they should think about?
I mean, I think first of all, it's extremely normal to feel lost because I've felt lost, All it needed was 2 bottles of wine and a laptop to figure out what I need to do. But that's not the solution.
That's an expensive option, by the way.
No, yeah, in Finland it is. No, but I think first of all, it's normal to feel lost, and I think that generally, if you don't know where to go, or if you don't know if this is the right thing for you at the moment, or if you're scared that you're not going to find a job, or if you're scared that you're not going to get into university or something like that, there are countless people here in this university or in other universities where, they figure out that they want to do a certain something when they are 40 years old, for example. My mom finished her medical degree when she was 40. She had 2 kids in the meantime. It's never too late, and all it needs is time. If you don't know what to do exactly and you're waiting for things to come, they most likely won't. You need to get some inspiration. One thing that one of my professors told me when I was trying to look for inspiration for my thesis, which I wrote about, it was a sport marketing related one. He said, "Why don't you just watch some football games? You'll see ads, you'll see banners, you'll see certain things." And that was so weird. Like, the last thing I would have expected my professor to tell me is watch football, to do the thing that I love the most. Why would I want to do that? Why don't I write my thesis? But at the end of the day, it helped me because I saw my thesis topic was about sport marketing or athlete endorsements. I saw athletes, I saw brands, and I kind of put one and one together, and then I came up with other things. That's a small example of how you get inspiration. But if you need to make a change, or if you feel like you need to make a change, or if you feel like a change is coming, then I think that inspiration is the most important thing. And you can get that from reading a book, watching a movie. And some people might not like it, but you can even get it from social media. LinkedIn is a social media platform as well, isn't it? Kind of.
Yeah.
So you can find a job on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
Go out there, meet some people.
Yeah.
It doesn't need much. It normally only needs one person or one situation to make a change. You could find it the first time you meet someone or someone new, but you could also need 2 or 3 months, maybe 4 months, maybe 5 months. At the end of the day, it's gonna happen. You will get there. It's just a matter of time and how you get through it.
This is amazing, Samir. This is very, very amazing to know. And I think that's very relevant for many of the students who feel like lost at some stage, because we have been into situation, the contemporary situation, for example, about AI being taking over different kind of jobs, and different kind of conversations are happening. Different kind of fields are changing. Every day you hear a lot of new news, for example, cutting jobs and AI taking over. It brings some kind of anxiety to people and to students to understand that what would be my position, for example, after 4 years. Where would I see myself? But it's kind of a process, as you just mentioned, and nothing just quickly come into your life, for example, in that way.
I think that's, if I may.
Yeah, please.
I think that it's really important for people who are scared that AI will change their lives or take their jobs. There's a solution to that. Learn how to use AI. We are the workplace that the company that I work for. They also try to stay up to date with it, and it's whether it's content creation. We a friend of mine and I we once turned a glizzy, like a sausage, into a superhero.
Okay.
Using AI, just because we were bored and wanted to practice and figure things out. It's a really cool thing to use. If you're a little creative, you can come up with the greatest ideas, and you can even make money from it. You can even start something really big.
Yeah.
You don't know where it could take you. So instead of being afraid of it, just embrace it.
Yeah. Talking about this, can you take us to your corporate journey? I mean, the entrepreneurial venture that you are into now.
Mm-hmm. So I'm a micro entrepreneur, and I basically the idea was that I register a company that doesn't really cost me much. I didn't want to risk my resources because I wasn't 100% sure where it's gonna take me. But I have a lot of projects, a lot of ideas with other friends as well who are on board that we are planning. I can't say too much, but we have some ideas that we wanna do to kind of contribute to the community in Jyväskylä, especially for the students. But I registered a company last year in June, and at the moment it's a service company. At the moment I freelance exclusively for a company called Story Clash, which is a social media marketing tool basically. Okay. It's a platform for companies, and they can use it to kind of find the perfect social media influencer to market their product through all kinds of platforms. And I work there I take care of the database, or help take care of the database, and I work in customer care.
Okay, yeah. Tell us something about how do you do this? Like, how do you maintain, or what are the demand on the delivery side? So how do you process this all information?
Do you mean how do I manage work, or work and studying in my life? Or?
No, I mean to say, like, when you talk about like maintaining the data profile, for example, so how do you do that? I mean, what are the demands? How do you deliver these services, for example?
For the company?
For
the clients.
Clients.
Okay, so I mean the database stuff. It's a little complex. We have a database that only our company uses. So it's whatever I say now will not mean anything to anybody else except for people from the company. But it's basically people can track. So if I'm going to take you as an example, right? You want to you want to sell or you want to launch a new product. Let's say it's a shoe, or two shoes in best case. You launch a new shoe in Finland, and you want to find an influencer who can market that shoe for you over Instagram. So let's say you want to look for someone, then you can use our tool to type in, I don't know, man or woman or whatever, wearing white shoes, and so on. We have this AI search, and it will give you pictures of all the people that wear white shoes, for example, in Finland, that are in our database. Now, if you have somebody that you collab with, but you didn't find them through us, for example, but you want to track their performance, then you can request them to be in our database, and then we will process that. It takes a minute, and then you can track how kind of their follower rates has gone up, or their engagement rate has gone up, and so on. And you can also combine your web shop, for example, with the tool, so you can then kind of track the amounts of clicks that one link that they posted generated, amount of sales, and so on. There's a ton of KPIs as well that you can track over our tool, which is it's a great tool, and companies doing well, I think. So yeah, it's a good place to be in, and especially in today's world where people are concerned about which companies will survive this kind of AI wave and stuff. I think social media marketing is a pretty safe place.
Pretty safe place for that. Yes, thank you so much. And how do you see that, starting from bartending and also working at Subway, and then ending up into the freelancing job?
You remember that I worked at Subway? Yeah, I was a sandwich artist. That was my job description.
What
I think
is
that's
this
really
sandwich
cool.
artist job?
The thing is that anybody who works at Subway, I don't know if it's still that thing, but the job description is sandwich artist.
Okay.
And it sounds you're not an artist, You can have it's really
it's art as well.
Yeah. I mean, my sandwiches were art because they, I put some pretty cool. I tried all kinds of things. Also, fun fact: I only wanted to work at Subway because I really liked the food there.
And the people get millions of views just to show how food is being prepared.
It's an art. I watch it, and I tried to imitate it, and then realized that I'm not so much of an artist when it comes to making food. But no, I wanted to get that Subway job because I liked the food there so much. A friend of mine introduced me to Subway, and then I said, it was either that, and then there was like this candy store that I really liked. They had all these like really crazy sodas that I wanted to drink. Okay. So I applied for a job there and at Subway because I was like, either one of those, I must get like a discount or something. And I used to get free sandwiches at Subway as well.
Yeah. I think this is interesting add-on feature.
Yeah.
But that brings me to a very interesting question. Why I was putting up from Subway to bartending and to the freelancing. And of course, there is one future waiting for you with the ideas that you just proposed. Do you feel like the young people underestimate the idea of small jobs?
Yes, 100%. I think not just young people, older people as well. I think that people who, for example, finish their education and they don't find a job in their field straight away, they might get frustrated. They spend all this time doing a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. And I think that's extremely valid as well. I think I would be extremely frustrated if I didn't find a job in my field for some time. If I spend, I don't know, 6-7 years in an education.
Yep.
But I think at the end of the day, it's important that you keep yourself busy, not just for your mental health, but also for your wallet. Try to get any job, or try to. Not just any job, but try to, aim a little lower sometimes if something doesn't work out at the top right away, and then you'll work your way up. I started working. I mean, I was working first at Subway, of course. I was doing all kinds of side jobs, here and there. But even the company that I'm in now, or the company that I freelance for now, I started doing 10 hours a week in data sourcing, which basically meant, just clicking, a very, very bland job in the beginning. So, I didn't think that would be like the big career for me. But now I work in customer care, and, I know that there are a lot of opportunities to grow within the company as well, which could be, a great opportunity. So it's not always, what's in front of you isn't always what's actually there. All you see if you have a job, even a small job, you see the tip of the iceberg, but you don't know how well you can grow within the company. There's people who start as salesmen in a clothing store, for example, but then get offered a managing role at some point, and then who knows? Maybe they can become regional manager, store manager.
Yeah,
CEO.
it's so interesting this perspective when you realize, when you start any kind of job and then you realize that how far you can go into the job.
Yeah.
And it's very important that the basics you should learn and then only you move on. And at some stage we were talking also that at some stage you would like to open your own restaurant or bar, for example.
Still, yes.
How would you do that if you do not know nothing about the ground realities, for example?
Exactly,
Yeah. So these things are helping a lot, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we should move on and try to understand, because these whole journeys that we are living and the transition that we are going through, and especially you, for example, coming out of your shell, settling down into a new country, facing the challenges and also learning at the same time, making friends, losing friends also. This brings a lot of anxiety at some stage. Mental well-being is also important subject in our life, and we as a human are very fragile, for example. How do you see that, how you have been coping up with these challenges? Has there been any challenge in your life, for example, that has worried you at some stage?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that everybody goes through phases, some worse, some better, or better, less bad. But yeah, I've had my fair share of dark days, I would say, where things felt pointless and you kind of lose the passion for life, for things. You don't see the excitement anymore, and you don't know where to go. You don't know how to get better either. The thing is, I think that many people try to or expect a change to come their way, and that's with a lot of things. But especially for me, I was just in a state where I didn't want to do anything. I didn't feel like going out much. I just wanted to stay home and not do anything. But the thing that saved me 100% at the time was coming to Finland, because I just needed a change. That's what I mentioned before, that I was extremely unhappy in Austria, and I really just needed to get away. And that's also one reason why I like it here so much, because it's like my this entity that kind of grabbed me and lifted me up again and kind of showed me a new life, and I could become a different person, or become the person that I wanted to be. And I think that for people who do struggle, it's often really, really good to make a change, to look at something that's not going right, whether that's a friendship or a relationship or a job. Those are usually factors that kind of play into these negative moments in life. So I think a change is always something that helps a lot. I'm not gonna say that this is what's gonna save you. Of course, counseling or talking to people is good. Therapy is good as well, but sometimes your best therapist is actually your friend. So it always depends. I went to therapy. I think I talked to maybe 3 or 4 different people, and after every single time I was like, this is not it. My mom's like, oh, but she's great. I would go there and then I'd walk out and be like, what does she know about me? She doesn't know about me. It's, like, shut up. Don't. I don't want to talk to you anymore. So then I'll go home and say, no, that's not it. And then I had one that was great, but I had never got the chance to go back, because then I came to Finland, and then things got better. A lot of, like, there are still things that I struggle with. I have some issues sleeping. I don't fall asleep. I don't sleep much. Maybe it's because I have too much energy or something, but my mind's always going on and on about things that I worry a lot about. But then I just think about things and I get inspired to do something random and, end up ordering 50 euros worth of candy, which I actually did last night.
Okay. Oh my God.
Because I just felt like I was like, I don't know, I want to try some new things, So I wanted to try some Japanese candy. So I ordered some candy. Anyway, but bottom line is that a lot of the times that I struggle with things, I had to come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to solve all of my issues, but I have to learn to live with them.
Mm.
So learning to live with, the things that you're given, that's, and whether that's, insecurities. I mean, I was always insecure about my height, or I'm insecure about, certain things with my looks and so on. But it's just, embrace it. Like that's what, it's the same thing with AI, AI is taking over our jobs. No, it's not. Just learn AI, You're short. Yeah. Then mention it all the time. I'm mentioning that I'm small all the time. It's the first thing that I say. And I'll tell everybody just so they know. And then they go like, but you're not actually that short.
Yeah,
and
but
I'm
they
like,
never noticed that.
Yeah, but then you're like, oh, it makes it kind of better. So at some point you don't have to mention it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just you have to learn to live with a lot of things, and you also have to accept that life's not gonna be perfect in every sense. Because if it was, it would be boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the most difficult thing that you have experienced and that you wanted to change it?
That's a great question. I think, the most difficult thing that I experienced is something that I couldn't change. But I think the thing that I wanted to change, that I did change, was basically my location. So the thing was in Austria that I grew up in Austria, and people knew me since I was a kid, and I was always kind of the same person. But growing up, of course, you change a little bit, and you want to be a little different, or you want to do different things, but you also don't want to be judged by the people that know you. So, for example, if I was doing something somewhere around town, and then somebody sees me and says, "Oh, he's the guy from, I don't know, 5 years ago," and then I do something, they're like, "Whoa, but this is not the same person," and then they go tell somebody, and they say, "Did you see how this guy changed?" That's weird. And then that goes around kind of, maybe it reaches a cousin, and then it reaches my uncle, and then it reaches my mom or something. And then they're like, it's about like how people see you. And also with my parents as well, or maybe more with my mom, I was always worried that, that like kind of like the new me isn't going to like really fit in there. So I just wanted to go away and just kind of start over and just be the way that I wanted to be. It was like, that was the most difficult thing for me, to come to terms with the fact that I changed, but I also didn't want to show everybody, the new me. It wasn't like a drastic change. It's not like, I'm a completely different person.
Yeah.
But I grew up, and I became an adult, and yeah. I just wanted to be myself, but somewhere else. And that was the most difficult part. I think that also that was one of the things that I was struggling with so much at the time, and that's why I had to make the change, and I needed to make the change.
Also, that why did I ask is because if sometime in your life you feel like there is something that could have been a different way, and one thing that you mentioned, but sometimes we feel like, if we had a power, we could have changed it, but life is as such that you cannot.
I don't think that you should. The thing is, life is, you're talking all about stories, life is just a story. Life is your book, and
you mentioned that life is like a game.
It is a game. The thing is, I always thought of, because I was always very football minded, I always said that, because I used to be really scared of dying when I was younger, and my mom always said that, because my mom's a Buddhist, so she always said, when you die, you're going to come back as something else or something like that. And then I kind of came up with this idea that life is just a football match and you're playing. And when you die, you're being substituted. But when you're younger in Austria, in like the smaller leagues, if you get taken out from the game, you can still go back in afterwards. So my idea was that when I die, I'm going to come out just to take a rest, and then I come back in. But generally, it's, if you want to have your life be perfect like the whole time, it gets boring. You need adventure, you need challenges. If everything is perfect already, you've completed the game. You might as well end it.
Yeah.
It's over. Like, what else is there to achieve? If there's a hurdle that you have to overcome, then you find a way to solve this problem, and then you can solve other problems as well.
Yeah.
And you can you become so skilled at solving problems, and you will find people and you will find ideas and inspiration along the way. And I think that that's really important. If you just sit in your mom's basement and let her cook food for you every day, and she washes you and she does everything for you, and you're not doing anything, you're just watching TV and playing video games and stuff.
What is excitement
the point
there? Yeah, what's the point there? Sami, you have a wonderful experiences with different kind of aspect that we just talked about. How do you see yourself, or how do you envision yourself next 5 to 10 years? Do you have some goals?
Yes. I don't generally want to set too many goals, because one of the worst emotions is disappointment. So if you make a plan and it doesn't work out and you're disappointed, then it's no bueno, But I think the first thing I want to do, the first thing that came to my mind now that you mentioned this, is I want to go abroad again for a semester, for another exchange. I forgot to mention that before, but that was one thing that shaped me and inspired me like crazy when I went to South Korea for the semester. I really enjoyed it. Great people, great food, interesting country, interesting culture as well. I loved it. And I want to go back to Asia for another semester. That's definitely coming in the next 2 years. And other than that, get my graduation, my master's degree, and hopefully grow even more in the company that I'm working for now. Yeah. And at the same time, I also want to start or expand my current venture as well. I want to pick up on the entrepreneurial life a little bit more, and get together with some of the people that I'm planning projects with, and start something pretty big in the city.
Great.
Yeah.
What would be the 3 important advices if you would have able to give to your younger self?
3? I'm limited to 3 only. I would say. Okay, I would say patience is extremely important, because I'm extremely impatient. I always was, and I couldn't wait for things to happen. Even when things were bad, I couldn't wait for things to get better. So that was something that really frustrated me always, and I think patience is really important. I would also say that I don't know if I would want to give myself too much advice. I'm maybe dodging the question a little bit here, but I think that everything good or bad, or everything that is in front of you is a lesson, and I think that you should always be ready to learn. And even if you're not, you're gonna, because life's teaching you. If you have all the rules and all the solutions and all the formulas in front of you, how to solve life, then it's boring,
Yeah.
I always my dad always said to me that try everything, do everything, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, then just not to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except for extremely hard drugs, maybe don't try those.
That was a different advice, not for the drugs.
No, I would never do that, because that's dangerous,
Yeah.
Of course, there are some things that are no-brainers, If I said, Dad, can I go skydiving without a parachute?
Yeah.
He would probably be like, no. But if if I said, Dad, can I go skydiving? He would have been like, of course you can. Try it out. And I went skydiving with my dad. So, it's
wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What is the one advice that you would like to give to our audience, for example, as a student or...
Yeah, I think that the most important thing is that, stay on top of things. Don't slack too much as a student. Embrace the lessons that you're given by some great professors as well. I also think that it's really important that people realize that it's not always bad. If you're a student, you at least have access to education.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, you have some kind of media device. If you have internet, probably, and you're probably, in front of a screen.
Yeah.
In a warm place, most likely. So kind of put everything into perspective, and if you start complaining about things, think twice.
Think twice.
Things could be a lot worse. So look at the bright side a little bit. I think that taking every opportunity and enjoying life a little more is really important, especially in times where things are a bit hectic, geopolitically as well. So stop thinking about all the bad things that could happen. Just enjoy it.
Stop complaining and try to enjoy it. Try to live
fun.
it through.
Have fun.
Yes. Great. Wonderful. Sami, it was nice to have you on the Swades Podcast. Lovely to hear about your stories and wonderful events that has gone by. And hopefully I'm going to talk to you or see you in the next 5 years and see where we are.
100%. Thanks for having me. I think that I'll definitely come back. Like once the next change has happened,
then we're going to go again.
Yeah, we're good to go again.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Remember to subscribe to the channel because 98% of our viewers are non-subscribers. So get there.
Crazy.
Thank you so much, Sami.
Thank you.
Lovely to have you.